Right now, we are taking a look at South Building, where we expect protest after the university placed a professor on administrative leave, expressing concerns over political violence. The latest on Carolina Week, which starts right now. Welcome to Carolina Week. I'm Aaliyah Mitchell.
And I'm Mackenzie Acton. Lots to cover this morning as we cover the university's decision to place a UNC professor on administrative leave. The controversy, the university has expressed concerns over allegations of potential political violence.
And the other side, others are expressing concerns over freedom of speech. We have both sides in our coverage today. So let's break down the details as we keep an eye on South Building, where protests are expected.
This professor, Dwayne Dixon, an Asian and Middle Eastern Studies professor, has been known to be active in protests on campus. He was placed on administrative leave effective on Monday, and here is how the university explains it. They say, in part, the university continues to reaffirm its commitment to rigorous debate, respectful engagement, and open dialogue in support of free speech. There is no place for or tolerance of inciting or extending sympathy toward violence of any kind within the UNC community. We also know at least one conservative group, Turning Point USA, called for his termination. He was on what they call their professor watch list. But some student organizations on campus have expressed concerns over First Amendment rights. In a statement, Campus Y said in part, "Our student organizations commit publicly to creating democratic, anti-fascist, and inclusive anti-racist spaces that protect academic freedom and urge the university to promise the same."
We reached out to Professor Dixon, and he has not responded to our request for more comment, but we did speak to a student in his class today. I got to speak with Ian, who told me that Dixon made no mention of any affiliations with any activist groups, and most of the information he's finding out from news sources. Listen to what else he told me just minutes ago.
Yeah, I'm just kind of blindsided by it all. You have free speech, right? Like, that shouldn't lead to someone's suspension. Like, if he hasn't committed any crimes, this seems kind of out of.
The planned protest in support of Professor Dixon is being planned for today at 12:30 at South Building.
There have been ongoing debates about the role of the First Amendment on college campuses since the death of Charlie Kirk 3 weeks ago. Next week, UNC's Hussman School of Media and Journalism will host a First Amendment Day where students can hear from First Amendment experts as well as examine banned books and register to vote.
The U.S. government is officially now in a shutdown after Congress failed to approve a deal to continue funding government agencies. The shutdown means that federal workers and active and reserve military members will go unpaid, and many in both the Education and Health and Human Services departments will be temporarily suspended from their jobs. A few essentials such as Social Security and Medicaid will continue to run, as will border security and the issuance of passports and visas. The government will remain shut down until Congress passes a bill to restore funding to the affected agencies. And a bill that would make changes to the way convicted criminals are tried in North Carolina is headed to the governor's desk. Most notably, the bill restricts pretrial release for violent offenders by requiring a secured bond or even house arrest. It also eliminates a cashless bail, removing the option of a written promise to appear, and includes mandatory monitoring for defendants with 3 or more criminal charges. There are also mental health provisions in this bill that say judges must order defendants to be evaluated to see if they have had any prior mental health concerns. The bill passed through the North Carolina House of Representatives last Tuesday and is being reviewed by Josh Stein.
In other news, North Carolina Governor Josh Stein is speaking out about a deadly mass shooting on Saturday. Authorities said a 40-year-old Marine veteran pulled up in a boat to a waterfront bar in the seaside town of Southport and fatally shot 3 people. Several others were injured.
It's horrific. I'm heartbroken for the families of the 3 people who lost their lives in this terrible incident.
The suspect, Nigel Edge, was arrested Sunday when the Coast Guard came up on his boat after the shooting. One husband who lost his wife in the tragedy told WRAL his wife was a devoted spouse and mother to 3 children. The couple had just moved to Southport last year to enjoy their retirement. Authorities called the attack highly premeditated and believe the suspect acted alone. Edge made an initial court appearance Monday where he faces murder and assault charges. Additional charges are still possible.
The CDC says 5 million adults in the U.S. have autism. Our reporter Emma Kane shares the story from one of these adults and how he feels the conversation about autism has changed.
Eric Garcia, a journalist and author, spends much of his time fighting against what he calls a growing stigma around autism.
We are going back to this idea that autism is something to be feared and is something to be eradicated or something to be avoided.
In 2021, Garcia wrote, "We're Not Broken, Changing the Autism Conversation," something he feels is now being reversed.
Like, literally last week, like a decade's worth of work has been erased. It feels like for the past decade, there really has been a focus more on acceptance, focusing more on inclusion and accommodation. And within like just literally just like a few hours, that was just erased.
The moment he says that changed is when Trump stated in a press conference that Tylenol can be associated with an increased risk of autism if taken while pregnant. Director of Communications at the Autism Society of North Carolina, David Laxton, believes more peer-reviewed and replicated research needs to be done.
They need to back up the words that they had on Monday with additional investments in research if they're going to try to make a case for that.
Dr. Mehmet Oz, an administrative official who stood next to Trump during the announcement, told CNN,
"It'll take us at least 5 more years, Jake, to figure out for sure if there's a causal relationship between Tylenol and autism. We may never know it for sure."
In a letter to physicians sent out the morning of Trump's address, the FDA said a causal relationship has not been established.
While there is some research that has said, oh, this could be a contributing factor, it's not enough that has been done on a wide scale to really make that claim, and that's caused some confusion amongst the community.
In 2020 alone, more than $400 million was given to autism research, according to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
There are plenty of researchers, there's plenty of educators who want to do the right thing, who want to embrace autistic people, who want to make sure that they succeed.
I'm Emma Kane, Carolina Week.
The National Institute of Health has already announced a $50 million research initiative to unlock causes to autism and improve outcomes.
North Carolina residents who apply to UNC by October 15th will now be receiving an admissions decision earlier than ever. UNC recently announced that in-state applicants who apply by the early action deadline will now hear back by December 20th instead of late January. Vice Provost of UNC Enrollment says that, quote, "speeding up their decision timeline is part of their commitment to the state and people of North Carolina." Over 82% of UNC students are North Carolina residents, and the UNC system is hoping to encourage even more NC residents to apply. Out-of-state residents who apply early will receive their admissions decision by February of next year.
That was a lot of information, but we have good weather ahead of us, I hope.
I am so glad it's finally stopped raining. We'll be right back with our meteorologist, Megan Giller, to tell you about the weather.
You're given a lot of things throughout life. Some to soothe you, some to nourish you, some to please you. Eventually, there comes a point where you can choose what you receive. The things you choose affect the way you live your life. The choice is yours. Choose wisely.
Welcome back to Carolina Week. Right now, we are looking at a beautiful day in Chapel Hill. Aaliyah, like I said, I'm so glad it's not raining today.
Yes.
It's a little chilly outside, but I'm excited for the fall weather.
Absolutely, I am as well. I'm excited to leave that umbrella behind.
Me too. And we are here with Megan Giller to tell us a little bit more about what we can expect this week. Megan?
Thanks, Mackenzie and Aaliyah. Yes, that fall-like weather is kind of moving in for this week. We see Hurricane Imelda is headed out east, which is taking all of the rain with it. We have a high pressure system moving in later this week, which is going to bring some more sunshine and brighter days ahead. Looking at today, though, we're going to be seeing temperatures within the 70s. We're seeing lower 70s by your noontime hour, moving into those mid to upper 80s or 70s, I should say, by 3 p.m. and then back down into those lower 70s by 6 p.m. Like I said, we're going to be seeing brighter, sunnier, clearer weather for the rest of this week, thanks to that high pressure system way up here. As we move through the rest of the week, it's going to start to scoot down.
Thank you so much, Megan. It was quite the rainy weekend, but organizers at the Carborough Farmers Market said they're there through rain or shine. And some families in the Triangle who rely on food assistance are stretching their dollars further at local farmers markets. But questions remain about how long that support can last.
Something like this that's $5, these muscadine grapes, they'd only be spending about, $2.50.
That's thanks to the Double Bucks program at the Carborough Farmers Market, where shoppers with SNAP or EBT benefits can get more bang for their buck on fresh local food. This is the key to the Double Bucks program, offering a dollar-to-dollar match of SNAP and EBT benefits. Let me tell you how it works. You come to the market, you find the green information tint, you present your SNAP or EBT benefit card, you get your token, and you get to shopping.
It's really touching because there's so many barriers to even being able to get accepted into that program, barriers to just coming to the market.
But the program itself is facing barriers. Market manager Chloe Scherer says that some of the funding they received back in 2019 has since run out, causing Double Bucks to rely on smaller grants and fundraisers.
We definitely have enough to sustain us through the end of the year, and it's a matter of just continuing to apply to the grants that we have received before and some newer grants to make sure that we do have that funding for next year.
According to organizers, more than 400 families relied on the Double Bucks program last year. Scherer says the impact right now is clear.
It's really exciting to see that follow through, being able to see people getting the benefits, being able to spend them at the market and get that fresh, nutritious food from our farmers.
Mackenzie, you know me, I love a little live music.
Absolutely.
And Scherer says Double Bucks not only stretches food benefits, but also puts money back into the hands of local farmers. Organizers hope new grants and donations will keep the program running into 2025 and beyond.
Many students are getting ready for midterm exams, and that, of course, means long nights of studying and, for some, lots of caffeine. From coffee shops to energy drinks, caffeine has become a daily habit for many college students. A 2025 study from the Adolescent Cognitive Brain Study found about 70% of youth consume caffeine daily. UNC nutritionist Carrie Gonzalez says students should monitor their intake.
Can negatively impact our sleep. It can worsen anxiety and stress and just may not be appropriate for certain health conditions.
We are joined here with Ellie Bowman from Sports Extra. Ellie and Aaliyah, I love caffeine. I need it every morning. What about y'all?
I can't have enough of it, honestly.
Caffeine gets me feeling pumped up and excited, but know what else does? Carolina Athletics. And after the break, I'll be back to tell you a little bit more what's going on this week.
Lately, I've been absolutely craving this simple yet addictive recipe. I start with flour, sugar, and my smoothest vegetable glycerin. I whisk a bit, then I add some generous pumps of cleaner for its volatile organic compounds and some spritz of propylene glycol for extra sweetness. After mashing the dough, I choose my favorite food-grade flavoring and watch my creation come to life. Once it's smooth, I fold in my sharpest micro metals, making sure they spread into every crevice. Next, my tobacco, more mixing, and finally my secret ingredient, polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons made from burning coal, gas, oil, and wood. Into the oven, and voila. It hits every time.
We are back, and we have Ellie Bowman in the studio today to talk about all things Carolina sports. Ellie?
Carolina volleyball is on a mission to win it all, and the only team that stands between them and the state title is the other blue team down the road. Tonight, the volleyball team welcomes Duke for the first rivalry match of the season. Looking to keep their hot streak alive, the Tar Heels entered the night at 9-2 overall and riding a 3-match win streak. UNC has been efficient on both sides of the net, ranking among the nation's best with a 27% hitting percentage, while holding opponents to just 16%. Chelsea Thorpe has been a force at the net, breaking her career high with 7 blocks in last week's win against NC State. The Blue Devils, meanwhile, come in still searching for consistency, though outside hitter Ashby Zogovic showed her firepower with 21 kills in a recent victory against the Wolfpack. In a rivalry defined by energy and momentum, expect blocking and serving pressure to decide this one. And our Izzy Beto and Macy Green asked students if they were excited to attend the game tonight.
Yes, I am going to the game tomorrow. I'm a student manager, and I'm so excited to see our team play, especially in the rivalry against Duke.
I'm really looking forward to the energy. I think it's going to be awesome. Obviously, it's a rivalry game, so I think it'll be really good.
I'm excited to see us win and for the t-shirts.
I'm excited to play Duke twice. Last year we swept them back to back, so hoping for the same result, and we've been working really hard in prep for them, so I'm really excited.
Our girls are going to sweep Duke 3-0, clean sweep both times.
They're winning the state. They're winning everything ever.
Students should come because this is the greatest rivalry in college athletics. Duke versus UNC, it doesn't get better than this.
The matchup takes place in Carmichael Arena tonight at 7. Carolina volleyball has already been efficient at sweeping all in-state rivals. The 25th ranked Tar Heels are taking over North Carolina volleyball. Carolina swept Wake Forest and took App State, ECU, and NC State in 4 sets. The Heels kept momentum going, gathering many accolades along the way. Versus Wake Forest, Sophie Hampton and Maddie May led the way with accolades in double digits, Hampton with 13 kills and May with 13 digs. Then against NC State, Zoe Barrett and Hampton's double-doubles, including 18 kills by Hampton, led to a 3-1 victory. With momentum from past wins fueled by rivalry spirit, the Heels will put on their best foot forward against Duke tonight and Saturday in Durham. Now, we all know the teams can play, but their social media game deserves some love too. Let's check out our favorite post from this week. Women's golf starts us off strong with some puppies and kittens to brighten your feet as the team helped out at the local animal shelter this past weekend in honor of Eric Montross. The Champions League kicked off this month, and the men's soccer team decided to show some love to their favorite team in this Who Will Win the Champions League and Why reel. Personally, Carolina Blue Man City uniforms might just sway me. And last but not least, we couldn't leave out the queens of content themselves, the Blue Ballers, the account run by UNC women's basketball players, showing off the whole team's fit. I've always had a soft spot for animals, so seeing the women's golf team spend their day of service at the beautiful Together Animal Sanctuary really stood out to me. Tune in Friday for a preview of another exciting week of Carolina athletics. Carolina Week will be right back after this.
Welcome back to Carolina Week.
Tonight is a busy night on campus.
The Carolina Latinx Center's keynote speaker will be speaking to students tonight. Norberto Briceño, co-founder of BuzzFeed's Pero Like series, he also ran social media for the nonprofit Voto Latino. To hear his speech, join the Carolina Latinx Center tonight at the School of Social Work.
Tonight at sundown, we'll start the Jewish holiday Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur is known as the holiest holiday in the Jewish religion and is honored by a 25-hour fast. During the fast, participants pray, reflect on the previous year, and ask for repentance and forgiveness for any sins committed. It closes out the end of the 10 days of introspection, the 10 days between Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year, and tonight's holiday.
And we're actually going to take a live look at where the rally for Professor Dixon is being held, right outside of South Building. As you can see, there's already media out there preparing for the rally that's supposed to happen at 12:30, kicking a little cords out there, but everything's all right. And so this is it. Thank you so much for joining us for Carolina Week.
We'll see you next Wednesday.